begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would like to join us, please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So again, thank you all for coming. Our first item is to adopt the amended agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. The next item is the consent agenda, and these are action items. Items on the consent agenda are to be considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a commissioner or citizen so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda. All consent agenda items are action items. So, are there any such requests to pull something off from the audience or the commission? No?
Madam President, I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, the next item is our regular agenda, and these also are action items. The first item is a public hearing. It's Resolution 2224, the West Foothills Overlay Fee Update. It's a request for adoption. I'll open the public hearing, and we'll first hear from Mitch Skiles, the Impact Fee Administrator, and then we'll open up to the public for comment. So, Mitch?
Thanks. Madam President, Commissioners, Mitch Skiles. This is a public hearing for Resolution 2224, the West Foothills Overlay Fee Update. Quick background on the West Foothills Overlay Assessment District. Resolution 702 is the current resolution adopted in 2004. There is a current overlay fee in the area. You can see on the map there, the area is loosely bounded by Hill Road to the south, Bogus Basin to the east, County Line to the north, and Highway 55 to the west. That current fee is $3,197 per new dwelling unit within that boundary. The fees are used to fund improvements to certain roads in the area. Since 2004, several factors have changed in the district, and that's what I'll discuss next. So since 2004, we have completed several of the roadway improvements. We've also added one project to the overlay district, and I'll show you what that is in a minute. We've revised cost estimates for the improvements in the area. Some plats have been approved since 2004. Also, the estimates for projected remaining dwelling units in the district have been updated. Those estimates were reviewed by both Ada County and City of Boise. Additionally, Resolution 2224 proposes automatic annual inflation adjustment, and the proposal suggests that it starts in fiscal year 2020, since we're so close to the beginning of fiscal year 19 right now. So some of the projects we've completed in the overlay district are shown on this map. And these improvements are for a rural street standard that's essentially 30 feet of pavement and 3-foot gravel, so shoulders. And this map shows the projects remaining in the overlay district, including one on Cartwright Road from Pierce Park to about the motorcycle club to do some spot widening through there. So the proposed overlay fee is calculated by total project cost estimates divided by the remaining number of units in the overlay district, bringing the fee to $3,200, which is $3 more than the current $3,197. With that, the recommendation of staff is to adopt Resolution 2224 as proposed, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mitch?
Step one.
Mr. Hanson?
Yes, Mitch, the automatic inflation adjustments, this is new to this particular overlay district. Is this a new procedure or is it common now since, this is 14 years old?
Madam President, Commissioner Hanson, you're correct. This is new to this, to the overlay district. It's similar to what we do in our impact fee ordinance, and has language in there that the commission would need to adopt by resolution a deferral of that index for the by September 1 prior to the start of the next fiscal year.
Oh, okay, thank you.
All right, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to testify on this item? Not, are there any other?
Oh, wait, I think I saw one.
Come on up. Give your name and address for the record.
My name is Andrew White, and first I'd like to thank the Commission for giving me the opportunity to speak on this matter today. I'm here pursuant to a letter that I received because I live within the West Foothills Overlay
And your
District.
address for the record?
I beg your pardon?
Your address?
Oh, I'm
for-
sorry. Okay, yeah. It's 12832 North 11th Avenue, Boise, Idaho 83714. And that sits within Hidden Springs for geographic reference. Anyway, yeah, I'm here before you today because the subject of all of this, of course, is an expenditure for the subject roads that are identified in the letter that I received. I've lived in that area for 8 years now. And I have both driven those roads year-round as well as ridden my bicycle on them as well for a period of 8 years. Up until March 31st of this year, I was able to navigate those roads successfully on my bicycle because I've been a cyclist for a little over 50 years, both at the collegiate university level as well as on the professional level. So I have a very high level of bicycle handling skills. Despite that, as a direct result of the inadequacy of the slopes, the cuts and the fills and the drainage along the subject area, the inadequacy of those allow wet sand on turns after spring rainstorms. So the day that I was out, that's why I'm on crutches today, by the way. The day that I was out on the 31st of the month, again, of May, the night before, there had been one of those spring deluge downpours that dumps a lot of water in a very short period of time. And the result of that, due to the nature of the soils and the sand, was that it washes soils and things and sand onto the curves. The motorcycle club is a classic example. And so for the 8 years that I've lived there, my testimony is that it continually and repeatedly, on numerous locations along that route, washes sand and gravel onto the road, creating a hazardous situation for anybody that's on two wheels, whether you're riding a motorcycle or a bicycle or whatever. If you're on two wheels, you're in jeopardy. I've managed to navigate that successfully for a fairly long period of time until that point in time. So on that day, I was westbound. I'd been out on a training ride getting a little bit of fitness going, but nonetheless, I was headed westbound on Hill Road. And then, as you probably know, once you pass the Dogbone roundabout, heading westerly, you've got a right turn to stay on Hill Road. If you were to continue straight, you could be basically on Castle Drive. Okay, at that point, there was, and the unfortunate thing about it was the sand was the same color as the roadway. So you've got wet sand. So I went through that turn. It's a bit of a downhill turn. And so you got a little bit of speed going, 30 to 35 miles an hour. So imagine yourself being thrown out of a car window at about 40 miles an hour. And that would give you a bit of a feeling of what it was like. So sure enough, I hit the ground so fast that I've never seen myself go down that fast before. I've had little road rash crashes, but I've never had anything like that in my entire lifetime. I went down so fast that I didn't even have time to get my hands off the handlebars of the bike. And so public saw it, people saw it. Fortunately, thank goodness to the wonderfulness of mankind, about 4 people immediately rushed to my aid and helped get me over to the rocks on the side of the road so I wouldn't be hit by a car that might be coming along behind me, not knowing what might have happened. But nonetheless, the part of what causes this is that if you look at the geotech on that stuff, on those 2 section roads, they both slope downwards right to the apex of the curve. And so what had happened that day, of course, is wet sand had gone right to the apex of the curve because of the inadequacy of the drainage, slopes, cuts, and fills. And so when you hit that, it's basically the same as being on black ice. You're going to go down, and you're going to go down fast. And that's precisely what happened in my case. But in any event, as we contemplate the future of things, I would like to respectfully suggest that some attention, some badly needed attention be given, because the inaccuracy of the slopes, cuts, and fills shows its face any time of the year, basically, whether it's spring, fall, or during the winter. If you have moisture coming out of the sky, you're going to have erosion out onto the road, putting a good number of the public in significant risk for injury. I've been 4 months on, a week and a half in the hospital, orthopedic surgeon, screws and plates in my pelvis in 3 places, and then a week and a half in the hospital and a week and a half in rehab, and 3 months at home with assigned physical therapy, something the likes of which, I shouldn't have had. I've been around that same curve 1,000 times because I train on those roads, so it's not new to me. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. And so at any rate, I'd like to respectfully have that taken into consideration as we move forward with the expenditures related to this area. And as we also go further forward, obviously we all know about the increases in the subdivisions that are contemplated in the area, which will push traffic away from Highway 55 and right through the subject area that we're talking about today. So obviously as a cyclist, I'm going to have to throw bike lanes in there too. The need for that, I can't overlook that item. But anyway, thank you for your time today. I probably exceeded the 3 minutes, but I appreciate your willingness to listen to my concerns.
Thank you. Commissioner Wilthorpe?
Yep, and this isn't necessarily a question for you, but perhaps for our engineers. And that has to do with if this type of erosion can be engineered out with culverts or anything like that on these turns. Okay, thanks.
Yes, Mr. White, we have our maintenance people here and our engineering people here and our planning people here. So they've heard your concerns and they will look into it. And I hope that you get better soon.
Thank you.
All right, is there anyone else who wishes to testify on this item? No? Commission have any other questions for staff?
Madam President, I would move that we approve Resolution 2224. I appreciate the testimony today. Not only have they had to hear from you today, Mr. White, but our staff has had to hear from me on this issue for several months, and I appreciate the improvements that they have in the resolution. I think the additional project that you identified there is really going to improve safety, and so I'm very supportive of that. So with that, I move approval of Resolution 2224.
Second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second, and I will close the public hearing. So is there any further discussion? Okay, if not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, the next items 2 and 3, Mr. Hanson, I
Yeah,
assume you have a
I-
statement?
Just want to recuse myself.
Okay.
We'll be leaving the dais. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the first item is an action item. It's the referral of the open meeting law violation by Commissioner Jim Hanson to the Ada County Prosecutor. Is there a motion?
Madam Chairman,
Commissioner Arnold.
I move that we refer the open meeting law violation by Commissioner Jim Hanson matter to the Ada County Prosecutor or appointed designee.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. Just a point of order. I mean, is this a matter, one where we take public testimony?
No. No, this is just a ministerial item that fulfills our obligation, I believe, under the law. So, okay, so all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is the submittal of the investigation report and supporting records to the Ada County prosecutor re the alleged open meeting law violation by Commissioner Jim Hansen. This again is an action item. Is there a motion?
Madam Chairman,
Commissioner Arnold?
I move that we submit the final investigative report prepared by Stephen Price, our general counsel, to the Ada County prosecutor as designated on the agenda.
Is there a second? I'll second the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that completes our regular agenda. The final item is public communications. Is there anyone who wishes to address the commission on any item? If not, meeting adjourned.